If f in terms of x is x squared plus 2, then what is the inverse of this function f? Well, let's replace the f in terms of x with y, and then we'll switch the x and y variables around. And at this point, it is the inverse. But given that, we normally try and isolate the y to be able to answer this question in a typical way. So let's isolate the y. We'll swap sides so that the y is on our left now. And let's get that y by itself. We see that we're currently adding a 2. So we'll subtract that 2, and whatever we do to one side, we also do to the other. Now we have to get rid of the squared. And the opposite of squaring that y is square rooting the y. So we'll do that. And whatever we do to one side, we do to the other. And this leaves the y by itself. And we have our answer. And at this point, we replace the y with our typical notation for an inverse. And we're done. Now, before we leave this question, let's reflect on the positive or negative here. As you've learned before, when you solve for a variable, in this case y, and the solving involves a square root like this, you need to include both the positive and negative options for the solution. In the same way that if x squared equals 9, we know the answer could be either plus 3 or negative 3. Our solution here can be either the positive and or the negative. And doing an inverse like this gives us an opportunity to appreciate this fact a little better. If we consider the inverse of this f in terms of x in graphical form, we'd get this. Now, how does this relate to our equation here? Well, the positive part of our answer is this part of the graph here. And the negative part of our answer is this part of the graph here. Together, they provide the complete inverse. Thus, our positive and negative out front here is clearly required to fully describe the resulting inverse.